it's 100 degrees out?
Hydration is key. Your body doesn't respond to the water you're taking in now. It's 24 hours from now. So they've got to be very conscientious, especially for today, because tomorrow we got pads on. And so the precaution is just being aware of self and making sure you're taking care of yourself so you can put that little bit of body armor on for when these days do come.
You guys have had kind of an interesting practice structure in the way that you've ramped up and then come back down and ramped up and then come back down. It hasn't necessarily been like 2 or 3 days in a row of just 100 miles an hour. You kind of give the guys a chance to I guess, rehab in a way. Is that something you learned from San Francisco? Is that something you learned from the medical staff here? Where did that kind of come in?
A little bit of both. I do take an interest in the science of the body and all that stuff, and just the overall health of it, and it's been proven that if you just stack 100 mile an hour days on top of another, you're really wearing out the body in terms of its ability to not get hurt, for lack of a better word. But so we look at it like we go high and then low to give these guys a chance that when the pads do come on, they give us everything. And it's a very, very rigorous. These padded practices are very, very hard. We're doing a great job. Their players are doing a great job getting themselves calloused for the season. And so we still think we're able to accomplish exactly what we want. We've been, knock on wood, pretty darn healthy. And because of it, we feel like the quality of work we're getting is pretty darn good.
You did more 7-on-7 than you had today.
Yeah, so yesterday was a bruiser. The O-line, D-line took over 45 snaps in practice, and it was hot, and I just wanted to give those guys a little bit of a break because tomorrow we're going to stack up another padded practice that will get to about 50 snaps. And to give those guys a chance to recover. We're already down on the O-line a little bit, so I just wanted those guys those extra 6 plays of third down weren't going to help anybody.
I'm probably going to jinx this for tomorrow, but I think this is one of the first camps I've seen where you're into the third week, the pads have been on, and there hasn't been like that training camp fight per se.
Oh.
Even when like Pirine hit Joyner the other day, like the two guys got up and they were in each other's face, but like almost encouraging each other. Does that speak to the players that you have and the way that these guys are bonding together to this point?
Yeah, there's, I think this team really cares about one another. I think these guys understand what each person puts in every single day, and I think they respect the work that they're trying to put on tape. I think when you see fights, it's when players are being cheap and doing extra and really trying to hurt another person's career. Playing your tail off and playing with effort and technique and a little bit of physicality is not cheap. That's just part of football, and I think these guys respect one another in the fact that these guys, everyone's putting out their best foot forward and doing everything they can to try to make a roster.
Robert, have you made any decisions on playing time for Saturday yet?
We're talking about it as a staff tonight.
Corey Davis is showing up a lot this week, calling for touchdowns today. How much is having like a receiver like him who's going to be your number one? How much does that help the development of a quarterback like that?
Just the veteran presence. You could put Jamison Crowder in that mix, and having that veteran presence who understands coverage, who understands route running, who understands how to attack leverage, who understands how to create separation, and then on top of it, to be able to speak through experience and to be able to talk to the other receivers to bring them along. They're priceless, especially when they're as talented as those two are.
Robert, what are your plans it seems like it's a pretty level competition between Moses and Fan. So what are your plans? Like, when do you have to make a call on that so they can, the 5 guys can get reps up front? And would you ever consider like a rotation during the regular season?
No, I'm not a big fan of rotations, just because I think, especially at the O-line level, and then there's certain spots that it's just me. It's just personal philosophy where I don't believe in rotations because I think you have to get into a rhythm. You have to play a game within a game. And I think the trenches at the O-line, corners, I think that's where most of that comes into play. But as far as the making a decision, I feel like we have all the time in the world. And because that group is there's a lot of continuity with the other 4. Moses and George are getting run with the 1s and 2s. And it's just a matter of the constant communication between all of them. I think we've got plenty of time to make that decision.
Robert, when you see Denzel in position to make what would probably be a great catch, but just doesn't secure it, is that confidence?
No, it's a two-way street. I think I thought the DBs had extremely sticky coverage today. Do you want him to go up and moss the DB and go get it? Absolutely. And but it'd be a phenomenal play for anybody to be able to do something like that. So the biggest thing is to go up, compete, and understand that those are 50-50 balls, and the expectation for the DB is to go take it, and the expectation for the receiver is to go take it. So both of them get paid, and both of them are competing, and so he's won a couple of those battles, and he's lost a couple of battles, but it's been a great competition.
Here every day like these folks, so this, I don't know if this is repetitive or not, but it seems like there's at least some theme that maybe this organization's ready to give up on Mims at this point.
No, absolutely not. There isn't a player in this organization that anyone's ready to give up on, and we're in the second week of camp, so they haven't even gotten a chance to go against another roster yet, and they've got 3 opportunities to go against other rosters and to continue to compete and play and establish themselves as what we want as on this 53-man roster. But every single player is competing their tails off, and they're doing a really good job, and I'm just excited for them to get an opportunity to go against a different colored jersey.
I know, Mike and Rob are working with Zach, day to day, hour, minute to minute. What's your communication like with Zach? Obviously, quarterback's an important role for the head coach. What is your, interaction like with Zach?
I guess my interaction, he asks a lot of questions about scheme. I'll do everything I can to help him with scheme part. I don't want to mess with the messaging with the quarterback, and so I'm listening in, and I'll talk to Mike LaFleur and give my thoughts, and then he can take whatever I say and give it to the quarterback. I believe in one voice, and so my interaction in terms of philosophy and all that with Zach, and really every player, is the same in terms of whatever I can do to help you get to where you need. I'm available. Same thing and I expect that out of every coach, to be honest with you. To answer your question, the interaction has been about scheme, philosophy, just thought process, and life in general. So,
is there any element of pep talk isn't the right word for it, but you know what I mean? Just we've talked about his confidence. He's obviously a young guy going through his first training camp. Is there any? He's
not wavering. I'm telling you, he's not. He's in a great space mentally. He's learning every single day. He tested it again today, and he wanted to see if he can get that throw in behind C.J. Mosley's right ear. Couldn't do it, and he said, "I'll go to the check down." He knows. He goes, "Oh, I saw the check down," so he knows he is in such a great place, and he loves competing. He loved that red zone competition period we had going down there because it challenged him mentally, and it forced him to make quick reads and quick decisions because there was a clock on the scoreboard and the ball had to get up and down. So he loves, and he's taking in all of it, and we're really excited about where he's at.
A couple more questions. Brandon Echols had a really good practice today. Pick six, offensive drill, a bunch of PBUs. So how close is he to really making that first team competition at cornerback? How close is he to really getting into that?
He's already gotten first team reps, so he's already in the mix. For everybody on this roster, can you find a way to make that even better? And just like everybody else on this roster, he's going to get an op. He's got Green Bay coming up. He's got the Giants and their plethora of wide receivers. So he's got plenty of opportunities to show why he belongs on this roster and why he belongs on the field when the ones take it in Carolina. So, for him, just really excited that he had this day. I think he's catching everybody's eye, and that's a good thing. Now he's just got to go stack up days, not get complacent, and do something with it.
Robert, how is Cashman looked? He's a guy who's dealt with a lot of injuries his first few years here. What have you seen?
You see the speed, you see all the stuff, you see the athleticism. He's very smart, can play all 3 positions. Same as everybody else. I'm really excited for him to get these ops against different offenses where you don't know when everything. Our guys know where every single route by now. I mean, it's just been repetitive, but for him to get these ops to go, he's dominating special teams like we all know he does. Now it's a matter of getting on the field and doing it on defense, and he's done it before. He's a phenomenal linebacker, and we're really excited to see him get to work.
You mentioned CJ's play on the ball. We saw Sherwood make a play on the ball. How critical has that become at linebacker? It's no longer Dick Butkus and Jack Lambert, that kind of, because of the way offense is involved. How critical is coverage now for that position?
I've always, I think we learned it way back in 2012 that the evolution of the running back and the passing game was far outpacing the linebacker. And so we've been we've had these smaller, longer, faster linebackers since 2012. And so when you look at the pass game in our system, we ask more out of our linebackers, I think, than any system in football. They are stressed heavily in the pass game. They're almost asked to be supermen to a degree. But the good ones can do it. You see Fred, Bobby Wagner, Paul Postlesny had a very successful career in Jacksonville. KJ Wright. You can go on with all the guys that have had success in the system, and Deion Jones when Dan Quinn was at Atlanta. So we've got a lot of faith in the linebacking crew that we have. We feel like they've done a really good job in taking the system, attacking it, and absorbing all the stress that's put on them, and they're getting comfortable. But they're about to see different schemes, and it's going to create a whole new set of challenges for them. So it's going to be a great learning experience over the next 3 weeks.
I saw Jason Pinnock, and earlier throughout training camp, I saw Bryce Hall. They tried the catch technique. So I wanted to ask you, like, what goes into a successful catch technique from a defensive back?
Define your version of catch for me, because there's.
So like when you're just sitting at 6, 7 yards, and then like you're kind of squatting on a
Okay. So the biggest thing for us is obviously you got to be inside. You got to be inside an area where you can't have illegal contact. So we scoot up, but the biggest thing is to have confidence in your reads, your eyes, your footwork, and just stand strong, stay in there, and understand this. It really comes into play when you're getting those condensed splits and all that stuff. But the biggest thing is patience. Absolute patience, and get in front of the receiver to give yourself a chance to break in either direction and make a play on the ball.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Marcus, what